All right, it's the end of an era, not a long era or a particularly notable era, but an era nonetheless. The Jimmy Garoppolo era, who, the Raiders paid a lot of money to only play a handful of games for them. Garoppolo is expected to be out now. It's not official, but it's expected for him to no longer be a member of the Raiders. Also, in this news, it's been announced that he was suspended for 2 games for violating the NFL's performance-enhancing substances policy. He was dealing with an injury. You have to wonder if that was, sometimes that's what happens is guys use those to try and get back into, try to get healthy again, that kind of stuff. So maybe that's what he was doing. I don't know. It's impossible to really say. But yeah, kind of a disastrous run here for the Jimmy Garoppolo-led Raiders as he, doesn't play well enough to, they eventually say, let's go with Aiden O'Connell, see what we have in him, which wasn't very good. You also have the reality is that this season, they're basically going to be paying him the exact same amount of money to cut him as they would be to keep him. Now, it's still a good financial move down the line because the way it works is his cap hit this next season is $28 million. If they cut him, it's about $28 million. It's just going to be a little bit less than I don't know, 20,000 less than that, which seems like a lot of money to me, but for an NFL player is basically peanuts. So basically nothing to cut him this year, but if they waited, then they would still have to pay $12 million the following year. So it makes sense to kind of rip the Band-Aid off now. You won't have to pay him as much down the line, and especially with his suspension, which definitely makes things more interesting because another aspect of all of this is he's about to be a free agent now, and I'm sure that there's going to be quarterback needy teams that want him, right? Maybe Atlanta says, you know what, Garoppolo's a good enough quarterback. He's not going to be he's not going to be the guy that you're looking at, right? He's not the number 1 guy, but if you can't get a quarterback in the draft, you don't get Kirk Cousins or whatever, is this now what you do? I don't know. It's interesting. Also, according to Adam Schefter, the Raiders are expected to release Garoppolo before the 5th day of the new league year in mid-March, where he would earn an additional $11.25 million roster bonus. So I guess that's part of it as well, is they're going to owe him a lot more if they keep him for that. So I guess that's part of why they're getting ready to move now. Sometimes these contracts are a little bit more confusing than what says on Over the Cap, which is what I said earlier in this video. So who knows exactly how that works. But yeah, as a whole, it's an interesting situation here with the Jimmy Garoppolo stuff. What they made a move, the Raiders didn't quite work out. The nice thing about this contract though is while it's going to hurt this year, you can kind of wash your hands clean after this season. So because of that, you feel pretty good about yourself if you're the Raiders in the sense of like, hey, not going to sink us. It was a bad move. It didn't work out, but it's not the end of the world. And I do feel like for Garoppolo, that might be the last big contract he gets in the NFL. So credit to him for getting his bag when he could. Garoppolo made a lot of money in the NFL. He had at one point he was the highest paid quarterback with the 49ers when they first gave him his contract. So good stuff for Garoppolo. I don't know exactly where he goes from here. And again, the 2-game suspension is probably not going to help things. As if you're a team like Atlanta and you're between Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy Garoppolo, well, you're probably going to take the guy who doesn't have a 2-game suspension, right? That's an aspect. So I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.